Welcome back to my channel. Welcome back to another read along. I'm gonna let y'all gather in. So you don't miss what's been going on. Let me give y'all a little update though. Oh, I do have something I do want to show you guys. Because last time I said I was still working on it, but this time I'm actually finished. So I gotta show you what I did. I did a thing. I completed that thing. Let me go get it. By the time I go get it, I bet enough people will be in here to see. Okay. Gather round, children, gather round. I got what I needed to show you guys. Do you have some tea? Because what we're reading today is Alice in Wonderland. And if you remember, if you've seen the book, if you've seen the movie, that takes place in, I believe, in England. So, let's get our tea ready. I'm drinking turmeric and ginger tea. I feel like it really cleans you out. But here is the first half of the poster. Last time I showed y'all, it was only a few there. Now, hola sister, may I see your hand? You want to see my hand? This is my hand. Okay, so this is the first half of the drawing. Now that we got a few people, we got an audience, this is the other half. Do you watch Attack on Titan? If you know, you know. Okay, now here's the full poster. I know, I'm kind of insane. Like, I went crazy drawing these lines, but it was necessary. Let's get that plant in there. Too much? Too much. Let me get her out of there. Okay. But yeah. This was just for fun. I might frame it. We'll see. We'll see what happens. If you would like me to make you something or design something or help assist you with any creative little project, I am here for you. Go to my Instagram, Y2K Cloudy Toes. Don't judge me. But my designer name is Kalos Illusions. Kalos means beautiful in Greek, and then illusions, because I draw illusions. So yeah. Okay, let's get into the story. Since we got people in here, sip your tea, because they was sipping tea, so we gotta sip tea. Cheers. Did you miss the cheers? Cheers. Okay, gotta make sure. Get your glasses on if you wear glasses, because if you're blind like me, you need them 24/7. So I'm just pretending like I can see right now, but really I can't. Okay, let me see. Hey people, thank you. Do you do biking? I love biking. Do I do it consistently as much as I would like to? No, definitely not. Okay, y'all ready? So you're gonna have to watch the last video to where I left off on. Oh, and disclaimer. I'm reading to benefit myself. I'm reading out loud because I'm a fast reader in the mind. Like I can get through a book fast. Love reading. But the problem is when I read out loud, I feel like my speech isn't the best that it could be. I feel like I could be a lot louder and project my voice. So I feel like the best way to get better at speech is to read out loud and to actually feel the words and everything. So that's what I'm doing. So when I mess up on a word or if I'm not saying something right, know that it's for my own good. And you're just gonna have to cringe through it, okay? Okay, we're still on chapter one. So you didn't miss too much. Okay. Behind her, Lady Ascot lowered her voice as she turned to Helen. You do realize it's well past 4. She scowled. Now everything will have to be rushed through. I'm sorry, Helen said. She knew better than to explain the whole saga of trying to get Alice ready to go. Oh, never mind, Lady Ascot said abruptly and bustled off. Her sharp eyes fixed on a teetering tray of tea sandwiches. Lord Ascot nodded down at Helen Kingsley. Forgive my wife, he said in his stately baritone. Baritone. That's what I'm saying. Like this book be having all types of words that I'm just like, okay. What did you say? Can you tell me the name of the novel? It's Alice in Wonderland. Have you seen the movie? You got no, you gotta read the book yourself. Unless I'm reading it well enough. And then watch the movie with Johnny Depp. Okay? With Johnny Depp. Helen smiled back. She was used to Lady Ascot. If only Charles were here, she said sadly. Lord Ascot gave a little bow. My condolences, madam. I think of your husband often. He was truly a man of wisdom. I hope you don't think I have taken advantage of your misfortune. Lord Ascot went on, looking serious. Of course not, Helen said, shaking her head. I'm pleased that you purchased the company. There was much more she could say. How much she missed Charles. How often she thought of him. All of the wonderful things he was in addition to wise. But to express oneself in such a manner was not proper, so she kept her answer short and civilized. The tall aristocrat allowed himself a small smile. I was a fool for not investing in his mad venture when I had the chance. Now Helen's smile was quite real. Charles thought so too, she teased. Elsewhere in the garden, Alice had been drawn into a line dance with the Ascot's son, Hamish. They bowed and stepped and crossed and bowed along with the other young people at the party until Alice felt quite ready to scream with boredom. Hamish, she said lightly, do you ever tire of the quadrille? I think that's what she said. Hamish was refined and immaculately dressed. Like his parents, he radiated aristocrat or arrogance and a sense of entitlement. His hands felt flabby and damp against hers. She looked down at his long nose at her as if he did not understand the question. On the contrary, he replied, I find it invigorating. His stuttering and preening made him look exactly like the peacocks in the Holand Park, in the Kingston. Alice couldn't help laughing. Her golden hair flew out behind her as they spun around. Hamish's eyebrows knitted together. Do I amuse you? No, Alice said, her eyes sparkling mischievously. I had a sudden vision of all the ladies in the top hats, of all the ladies in top hats and the men wearing bonnets. Hamish didn't even crack a smile. It would be best to keep your visions to yourself. When in doubt, remain silent. Ain't he an asshole? Alice had been hearing this advice her entire life from everyone except her father. Now that he was gone, she felt as if there were no one else like her in the whole world. Her smile faded, and they kept dancing. Although Alice had a hard time keeping her mind on the music, her eyes drifted to the sky where the flock of geese sailed by overhead. Distracted, she bumped into the dancers in front of them, who whirled around with outraged expressions. "Pardon us." Hamish jumped in officially before Alice could apologize. Miss Kingsley is distracted today." He ushered Alice away from the dancing green with a frown on his face. Alice glanced up at the sky again, but the geese were gone. "Where is your head?" Hamish snapped at her. "I was wondering what it would be like to fly." That's me all the time. Alice said dreamingly. Her father used to lift her over his head and whirl her, shrieking with delight around the room. She imagined it would be something like that. "Why would you waste your time thinking about such impossible things?" Hamish asked. Alice laughed, a sound like silver bells in the sunlight. "Why wouldn't I?" she answered him. "My father said that he sometimes believed in 6 impossible things before breakfast." Do you remember that? Her father believed in thinking of 6 impossible things before breakfast. Mind you, her father was a very successful businessman who passed away sadly. She smiled, remembering one morning when she was 7 years old, she found her father buttering his toast and demanded to know what those 6 impossible things were that he believed in before breakfast that morning. "Well," her father had said seriously, setting his toast down and folding his hands, "first, I believe that there are 3 little girls living on the moon." Alice giggled. "That's silly. How would they get there?" "That was the second thing," his father said. "I believe they flew there on a special flying penny farthing. I don't know what that word means. Penny farthing bicycle. It makes sense when you think about it." "No," Alice cried. "Bicycles can't fly." "I see you need more patience believing in the impossible things," her father said, returning his attention to his morning cup of tea. Did you get your tea? We're reading Alice in Wonderland. You have to have tea. Go ahead, go get your tea. Her father said, returning his attention to his morning cup of tea. "I can't possibly tell you the other 4 if you're going to disbelieve every one." Exactly. If you have no imagination and you're having a conversation with someone who has no imagination either, sometimes some things just can't be said in front of those people because they're going to make you feel like your imagination is nothing, like it's impossible. "It would undo all my good work this morning." You know what he's talking about, right? He's talking basically about manifesting, like the process when you meditate on what you want, and it's like every day you're doing it. You're meditating before bed or before breakfast starts, and you're getting yourself mentally ready to conquer what you want to accomplish. "Oh no, please, please," Alice had begged, leaning against his knee and gazing up at him with wide eyes. "Please tell me the rest. I promise I'll believe in them." All right, he said, lifting her onto his knee. If you promise. The third impossible thing I believe is that the moon must be made of scones and clotted cream, or else that what would the little girls eat for tea? Alice opened her mouth, saw the warning look on her father's face, and closed it quickly with a snap. But then I had to believe that there must be a long bridge on the moon stretching over the sea of clotted cream so that the girls would have somewhere to ride their bicycles. Otherwise, they would sink in the cream and never be seen again. Of course, Alice said. She counted she counted on her fingers. That's the four. That's four. What's the fifth thing? Fifth, said Charles, I believe that there was a white rabbit with a monocle, those little circle glasses, I think, who led the girls to the moon and back every night. Alice gasped. Just like in my dream. Is it the same rabbit? Most likely. Her father said gravely. He's quite busy, this rabbit. He's got a lot to do, and I hear he's frequently late for his appointments. He is, Alice breathed, round-eyed with awe. And the last impossible thing I believe before breakfast, he said, was that I have the smartest, the prettiest, the bravest, the most well-behaved daughter in all of London. That's not impossible, Alice protested and giggled again. Oh, it was by far the most difficult of the six. Look at him cutting at her. Charles assured her. I had to try terribly hard to believe it. It took me ages and ages. My tea had gone cold. Father, you're teasing me, Alice said. She poked the sanity waistcoat over his stomach. But the good news is that I believed it at last. Her father said, hugging her close, I believed it so well it came true. And here you are. You hear what he's saying? Did you hear that last line? I believed it so well that it came true. And here you are. Very well, 7-year-old Alice had said, snuggling into her chest. You may eat your breakfast now. Nearly 20-year-old Alice laughed again, remembering her father's stories. She didn't notice the pained expression on Hamish's face. He wished she could be like other Victorian girls, quiet, restrained, and predictable. None of this peculiar talk about impossible things and breakfast. He glanced around and saw his mother hovering at the nearby tea table. Lady Ascot waved impatiently, fixing him with a hurry-up glare. Ahem. Hamish cleared his throat and turned to look down his nose at Alice again. Alice, meet me under the gazebo in precisely 10 minutes, he said. Alice gave his retreating back a curious look. She didn't much like being ordered around. Precisely 10 minutes. And how was she supposed to achieve that precisely? Without a pocket watch of any sort? A real gentleman would have given her his. Exactly. Did you hear that? A real gentleman would have given her his. Because she don't got no watch. So how is she supposed to know 10 minutes has came? When he the only one with the watch. Goofy. But then he wouldn't have been able to glare at it impatiently when she was late. Did you hear that? But then he wouldn't have been able to glare at it impatiently when she was late. It's like he purposely set her up to be late so he could glare at his watch and be mad that she late because she don't got a watch. Why would she have the watch? He just want to cause havoc. Amused by her own wayward train of thought, Alice stopped towards the refreshment table, but found her way blocked by a pair of giggling girls in the gaudy pink green dresses. The Chataway sisters were notorious gossips, and from the looks on their faces, they were simply bursting to reveal something they shouldn't. "We have a secret to tell you," Faith said eagerly. "If you're telling me, then it's not much of a secret," Alice pointed out. She was not particularly fond of gossip herself. Fiona clutched Faith's arm. "Perhaps we shouldn't." "We decided we should," Faith cried, looking betrayed. "If we tell her, she won't be surprised," Fiona observed. Alice's interest was piqued. The secret involved her. Perhaps she did want to know after all. She enjoyed surprises even less than gossip. Faith turned to Alice. "Will you be surprised?" she demanded, clearly wanting the answer to be yes. "Not if you tell me," Alice said. "But now you brought it up. You have to." "No, we don't," Faith said. She drew herself up huffily. "In fact, we won't." Fiona agreed, looking equally indignant. Alice sighed. Why did the Chataways have to be so maddening at all the wrong times? Luckily, she had a trick up her sleeve. She folded her arms. "I wonder if your mother knows that you two swim naked in the Haversham's pond." The sisters gasped simultaneously. "You wouldn't!" cried Faith. "Oh, but I would," said Alice. "There's your mother right now." She took a step toward Lady Chataway, one of the women cooing over the flowers, and Fiona seized her elbow in panic. "Hamish is going to ask you for your hand," she blurted out. Alice stopped dead. That's where I'm going to end it for right now. It's getting kind of hot out here. Everybody's trying to cut grass now for some reason. I don't understand. But we're still on chapter 1. We have one more page. So, definitely stay tuned because I'm going to continue. Thank you, you beautiful people. Thank you, you beautiful people, for calling me beautiful. I have 2 other books that I'm going to read, I think, tonight. So, if you stay tuned, if you actually go to my YouTube, you're going to see the 2 books. I think one is called The Secret to Getting Rich, and the other one is another, like, mental, like, help type book. They're really, really good. I think you should tune in. So, because that's what I'm going to read. But, yeah. I hope you check out my links. I have a few things that I'm working on that you can check out. If you want to collab and work together, let's see if we can do that. I like to do Zoom calls. So, yeah. Anyways, y'all have a great day. And make sure you drink your tea. Peace.